Yep.
Jill and Chad,
You are about to receive messages that may be harmful to your mental state. Your sense of reality will be questioned. Your view on things will be altered. You are now part of the meta. The meta controls everything. The meta determines what will and will not happen. You are watching the Meta Show.
They did hear it. Hey Joe, I'm gonna try to convince everyone just to preemptively ban your ass from INN just for giggles. Just like Purunga. I called that one first, by the way. Maybe second.
Wow. Okay, well, we are live now officially. Because I'm hosting, I didn't mute the desktop audio, I guess, or whatever it is that's supposed to prevent Aerith from talking shit as we're waiting for things to go live. That's awesome. All right, so I don't know if you guys can actually hear us or not. People are saying that they do hear us. Let me make sure that we have push to talk off. If I'm hosting, that means that I can't just chime in randomly. Okay. We should be working. We should be functional. Holy crap, it's the Meta Show. So we've got, if everything is functional, we have 3 guests here today. I know that we often have Aerith and Nominate and Jay on board, but they're all going to have to do a lot more talking than usual. Yes, somebody is doing the Alut to Purunga thing. Aerith, were you actually on when commenting about the Purunga thing when people could hear you or what?
I hope so. I mean, I even responded to an Acid Retro post, and I never do that shit. But that one was like a week and a half, 2 weeks in the making, where we all knew how that was going to end. It was more like surprising how long it took for it to end that way.
Hey, I was kind of moving, right? Like, I claim real life. That's my excuse for not shooting him earlier. No, that was like audio levels are horribly imbalanced. Well, that's not a huge surprise, considering that I have no idea what I'm doing. Let me see if there's. I see, actually. So this is something that.
Your mic might just be too low.
All right, try now, guys. Let me know. I, for some reason, had I think from an earlier version of this microphone, I had a like 3 decibel like less sound set to this. So hopefully now it's a little bit better. It was actually set to be lower. It's not just that I'm crazy. Okay. I think that's working. Somebody's saying I'm still low.
It's funny how every once in a while one of those people pops up. You just know they're going to be banned. It's just a question of how long it's going to take.
Yeah, I mean that was one of those scenarios where like just for people who aren't aware of like the drama that's happened within the Imperium, and it wasn't really much drama because it was pretty much just a commissar, and that was that. Um, was this dude who's a serial corp hopper named Purunga had who basically no matter what corporation he's in, what alliance he's in, he just camps Tama and Losec, and that's it. He joined Goonswarm and started herfing all these blurfs about how he was going to set up Team Tama, and it was the creepiest thing that he did was he would go on fleets, he would like lead a fleet, and then he'd ask everybody who was in his fleet to like post like an Amazon review. Like, hey, I'm Purunga, and this was so awesome. This fleet was so awesome. Everybody should give Purunga whatever he wants. Like he was trying to uh, start like a cult of personality or something. And then he asked for Fortizar to get SRP'd or some shit like that.
I've
Did he
seen
drop
people
it?
so I've seen people so enthusiastic about gate camp before.
Yeah, like, oh my God, we're gate camping in Tama and we're giving Purunga all of our loot. This is great, guys. This is great. What could we want more of? So yeah, he was very clearly just trying to use Goonswarm and had only been in the entity for so long. So we just eventually, I guess it did take a month. So this is what happens when we don't have Boat with us. We have Rothrin just subscribed. Thank you very much. This is what happens when we don't have Boat. Boat is in Australia, and I'm like, and I guess that's what happened. And then I paused, and that I think was the longest silence in the history of the Meta Show. It was all of like 5 to 8 seconds.
It's all right. I got you back from here on out. We'll see
Okay,
it.
that's good, because it's just me and you guys, and you know. So what do we actually have? We have a lot of things are going on. We had the monthly. So what are we going to talk about today? We've got the monthly economic report for November. So we're going to be going into some of the analysis there. H2 Bro just subscribed with Twitch Prime. I'm getting because I'm hosting it now. I hear like when people subscribe, I like hear the little dinging in my ears. It's a little weird. We're going to be talking briefly about the Guristas Satios because we stole a Commodore, which is pretty hilarious. And that's always cool. We're going to be touching on the unfortunate early passing of CCP Blaze, which is really tragic. My understanding is that he was only 35 years old and it was just a sudden loss. And the memorial skins for CCP Blaze, they are selling like hotcakes, and you should grab them. It's 495 plex for only five of these skins. So we're going to be talking about that, promoting it, and it's for a good cause. Finally, there's some drama in Nullsec going on. That's internal tri drama that we're going to be briefly touching on, and hopefully get some yelling about that. We'll see how that goes. And then after that, it'll just be Q&A and whatever the fuck people want to talk about, because we're just winging this shit here today, guys. So yeah, before we get to the top story, which will be the November monthly economic report, Ashramuchi, actually, how the hell? Anshao Murchi, right? Sorry. What up, dude? Jade, subscribe. So let's have everybody introduce themselves, and then we'll do the top story and dig into this shit. Aerith, you go first.
I'm Aerith. I'm known.
I'm Namit. I am one of our CSM representatives and the director of Goonfucker Affairs.
Exactly. And Jay?
My name's Jay. I don't really speak on these shows too much.
That is also true. Let me go ahead and see. So I still need to be louder. Let me see if I can raise this volume over here, maybe on my side of the aisle.
What are you doing to the chat room on the stream?
What's that?
The chat room to followers only mode?
I didn't change it to that. I think somebody else did.
Oh.
It was there and then it was removed. Some moderator must have done that. I have no idea what's going on.
Okay.
But that's okay. So let's go ahead to our top story. We even have like the fancy graphics. We're going to see if this works. I tried to set up all the shit. Urziel 99, 5 months. Thanks, dude. And we're going to do the top story now. So hold on to your horses. It would have been interesting if it was porn, but it was more like graphics porn. So we have done it. The graphic played. Hopefully the music worked. and everything is functional. Rygar 93 3914 just subbed. Thank you, dude. So yeah, top story. This is, one of the things about Eve. Things are relatively quiet in terms of big scale wars. We did have some funny things like 200 billion ISK worth of Rorquals getting blown up. We'll talk about that a little bit further on in the show. But the November monthly economic report has come out, and despite all of the herfing blurfs about bee control and people trying to interfere with what's been happening in Delph, these statistics are pretty crazy. I'm going to read some of these numbers off here. 13.9 trillion mined in Delve and 2.8 trillion mined in Quirius, 9.7 trillion in NPC bounties, 24.3 trillion in production, 34.5 trillion in market trade. And this is, to put it into perspective here, this is just all stuff that the Imperium is up to. Mining in the north compared to what's happening in Delve, Tenal mined 1 trillion ISK. So you can see some of the guys in PL are actually starting to suck it up and start mining. So that's cute. They got their trillion. Good on them. Baby's first trillion. But it's just the rest of the galaxy, but particularly the north, compared to the southwest, is just doing nothing. The Fade is completely dead. Aerith, can you go through here and let's start with you. You are our designated economic asshole. What the fuck is going on here?
Well, first I put the A in asshole, but second of all, it's not just mining. A lot of people were focused on mining. It's the total economic picture, right? You have ISK ingestion, you have mineral ingestion, you have supercap production, you have reactions now, which is amazing. Tons of reprocessing, PI. Like when I look at our tax base, I look at it almost 3-4 times a week. I'll look at our full tax report. And it's a really good blend across the board. There's no one thing we're heavily dependent. Well, there is maybe one thing, but there's a good blend of taxes that all add up to an aggregate where it's huge ISK, where we're netting after everything over $1 trillion a month, like after bills and stuff. It's just like, are you kidding me right now? It's the most money we've ever made, by far the most money we've ever made in a continuous manner. OTEC, we made something around this, but it was a very, very short-lived period. We're turning that into structures, which generates more economic activity. So the MER, all it's really showing now is the payoff of 1.5 years of work.
I don't know. This is some shameful shit that we're letting the Forge beat Delve on production.
Well, we've got to slap down a lot more shit, and our indexes get raped so fast. Like the puppies have a whole lot of systems to choose from, and it's very difficult for us to set up that many systems.
Have we ever beat the Forge?
No. Yeah. Well, kind of, I guess. I mean, I don't consider beating just the region, the Forge, kind of the goal. I consider beating G to the goal.
I think we did beat the Forge on production for 1 month.
Yeah, but it's not sustained. I think it was because of we slammed in a ton of supers. I think that one. Yeah. Oh, by the way, we built a lot of supers, guys. If you didn't know.
I have no idea why my webcam decided to fuzz out. I went into wacky hologram mode there, probably because I was spinning my pen in front of the camera and my webcam is passed. But beyond that, one of the things that is curious to me is, sure, we're trying to compete with, at this point, JITA itself. But, most of the dialogue about goons doing things in Delve and that being bad, we've seen that from Horde and Slice and all these guys in the Galactic Northwest herfing blurfs about how people should come down to Delve and stop us and all that. But if you look at Fade, what's going on there? Gobbins doesn't seem to like me that much, and wants goons to stop mining and doing anything. But what are they doing, economically? If nobody is mining in Fade, what's happening?
They are doing reactions in 7RM, but we already overtook that as well. They had stuffed all their eggs in one basket in one system. We had spread out, and even with our spreading out, we're already beating their system. It's kind of sad.
Jay, what have you seen?
Mostly branch is pretty high. A lot of rallying is going on in Tenal as well. But nothing really too much. Nothing else stands out. There's a few regions in the drones that are above a couple trillion in mined and bounties, but no one's just on our level, really.
Now, here's a question. Do you think, from a CSM perspective, are we going to see more attempts from CCP? Obviously, you can't tell us in too much detail. Are you going to should we predict them to try to intervene to stop this, or is this a matter of we're playing the game the right way and the rest of the galaxy isn't even trying to do what we're doing?
I think it's both. I'm not going to say anything NDA. They haven't told us anything beyond what public knows already. But they're going to have to do something. The disparity is so crazy right now. I mean, it's like we're Harlem Globetrottering everybody around the galaxy. It's just stupid.
But the problem is that one of the things CCP has been focusing on is trying to get ships in space. And one of the reasons we're so far ahead is we're the only ones who are actually trying to make that happen. Everyone else is still trying to hang on to their old only undock for a fight, mine the moons, get the passive income kind of stuff.
We're actually like playing Eve, in other words, like instead of just undocking ships only for fights,
Right.
we are on the field, we're vulnerable, like we can be attacked. We have to defend our people as a result, so we have constant homeland defense ops. People are constantly trying to come to Delve to fuck with us, and then we have to kill them, and then we have like the life alert system. And it seems like essentially there's an economic ecosystem here as opposed to just like, oh, let's nerf mining, or let's alter this or this other thing. It's like these layers stacked on top of each other of economy. Is there any other alliance that you guys have seen in terms of, and it doesn't have to be a big one, like have you seen any other alliance implement a multi-tiered economic policy?
Nope. It's just scrubs all the way down, man.
I don't think anyone is even considering it.
That's kind of fucked up. I mean, like, from a certain perspective, it's hard to talk about this shit on the Meta Show over and over again, because this has been the status quo for months now. Is like Goons crush the monthly economic report. We used to, in Eve back in the day, we didn't have these MERs, right? So now CCP is actually publishing statistics of what everybody is doing. And this is the most competitive game on the planet. And so why are people not... why the fuck is nobody trying to compete with us?
Well, Sadis actually makes a good point in chat, which is everybody who wants to play Eve the way we're playing is flocking to us. So we're sort of distilling Eve down into the undock for a fight, and that's it people, and all the people who want to undock and be part of like a major economic system are on their way, or they're either part of us or on their way to us.
So essentially everybody who wants to play this way is already trying to join Goonswarm, and they're not really doing anything.
Or will eventually, yeah.
We're even sucking into like high-sec pub lords now, like the guys who fancy themselves the big-time Gita traders. I'm already seeing them in our market now, and I just watch them, and you know, I'm fine to let them continue on and scurry and be little ants. That's fine. Bring them in.
One thing that wasn't included in the MER that is also pretty interesting is how much that Goons have made off of the speculation.
Oh god, it's so sick.
That's actually, so this is something that you know, we posted an article about this on INN when Aerith had made a famous like Herfblorf, like we deep dicked everybody kind of bragging thread, but it was also a call for more Goons to get involved with reactions and shit like that. But for people who didn't see the bragging thread, can you basically just describe, Aerith, what you guys collectively did?
So basically the way this works is we read tea leaves. We try to predict what systems within Eve will be changed in a future mechanic update or a balance pass or whatever. We invest in those items that we feel like they have to be changed in some way because they're just worthless or whatever, right? Tholium was a perfect example of this. Like we started investing when it was about 2,000, I think, each. It basically were lottery tickets. We started investing about 3.5 years ago in the Cabal, and probably about 3 years ago in the mainline. We post pictures of hangers so people know what to buy and how much, and we told everyone to buy 50% of salvage and 50% of moon goo. So I had a few trillion of each, and the Alliance had like trillions of moon goo because we've been stockpiling for years, and then we shut off Delve. The average line person in GSISC for a 500-person channel on the weekends is probably another few trillions. So we probably have easily 20 trillion invested from Goons or the Alliance or the Cabal, and everything doubled, tripled, or more. So you can do the math.
It's pretty ridiculous. One of the things that struck me as funny with the Thulium bet is I think it was CSM 3 or CSM 4, one of the very first CSMs. There was a guy, I'm trying to remember who it was. If it was like Larconis Tressler or somebody, maybe somebody in chat will remember this. But there was a dude who got booted from one of the original CSMs because he was speculating on Thulium, and he believed that CCP was going to buff Thul finally because it had been like the garbage R64 forever. And so finally the Thulium lottery ticket paid off. It was just like 7 or 8 years later than planned for him.
Okay, but for very small investments back then, you could make trillions now. So you could have invested, say, 20 or 30 billion back then, and now you're printing trillions. The other thing is there's the follow-on effect. So that was phase one, right? The buy-in, the cash out either into the speculation spike before the patch or after patch as the supply dropped, right? Well, we told everyone everything you speculated in reacted. So, because it's two reasons. One, you're going to get more margin on the reactions, but two, you needed to pass some time anyway while the markets ran out. So you should have just been reacting because you had nothing better to do with it anyway. So you might as well capture that margin. Well, now we came in, or more specifically, I came in, and to some extent the Alliance came in after all that, and we started smashing these markets. Whatever left was in JITA of, let's say, half the target value we thought it was going to. So I would go in and just crush cadmium. I would go in and crush R16s. I would go in and crush R64s. So I'm manipulating multiple markets right now in Goo with the express purpose of area denial. Like the whole point is, one, we need them for our reactions. But two, us smashing these markets means that pubbies can't participate in them. They can't go and grab this Goo and JITA and send it to their space and react and send it back.
Why not? Like, explain it. Money. Is that because having smashed the markets, you mean like there's just no supply for them to take, or is it just too expensive?
Like for example, I smashed Prom a couple days ago. Or whatever.
What is from somebody who's not like a market manipulator perspective when you say I smashed this thing? Like, what does that look like for somebody who doesn't know what's going on?
Well, I'll use Prom as the example. So I knew Prom was next. That was going to be my next target. I start buying in, so you'll see me appear in the markets for a couple weeks before something's going to happen. When you see the FOFO, you know some shit's coming. And then when I can't get enough, or I feel like there's a timing where the market's at a tipping point, maybe all the sellers are zombies and the buys are strong and I can't get any and filling my buys. Well, I need that shit for my personal reaction. So if I can't get a few million units easily, no one is. And I'm going to buy them right off sells and spike the price 10K, which is basically what I did. Which means that anyone coming after me now has a much higher price than even I bought in at, and they have a decision to make. Do they buy at that price? Do they try to war buys, or do they just sit out on the sidelines for a while? If they buy at that price, they probably lose ISK. If they sit on the sidelines, they serve my purposes just fine. And if they war on buys, they also serve my purposes just fine. So it's that kind of meta.
That's fascinating. So essentially, once you, like, from what I understand, like once you control, it's something only about like 20% of a market supply, 20 to 30%, you can have effective control over that market entirely. Is that still the case, and does that apply to Goo?
Yeah, it does. Definitely applies to Goo still. It's going to be harder now as we don't have top-down control of the Goo, so that's going to be much more difficult to do, but you can effectively replicate that behavior with just lots of ISK.
So one of the things that you were posting about in this thread on goonfleet.com, and we reposted it on Imperium News, was, and stop me here because it is the meta show, and I'm not sure whether this is like, I don't know enough about economic stuff to really tell whether this is like an OPSEC thing we shouldn't be talking about. But it did seem like you were attempting to convince line members in the Imperium to start reacting personally. Is that something that you'd like us to talk about in public?
Yeah, I mean, reactions are really, really easy money if you have some incredibly powerful economic cabal guiding you. So what's happening is I say, okay, goons, go buy Neo and Thulium and react those things because that price is stable or it's low because I haven't started fucking with it yet. But when I do start fucking with it, you're going to make a ton of money on your output because it's going to get manipulated on the input pricing. The prices on the output will adjust and you'll make a ton of money. So we can guide goons in the markets where they're going to make a bunch of money by our future manipulations, and that's what we do.
So we're setting up a cartel, essentially.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, reaction cartel, yeah.
That's interesting. So, I mean, one of the things that did strike me as curious is that you would had like a guide on how to set up a reaction character, and it's something like just like a couple of plex and a few injectors, and then you have a dedicated alt that can just churn these things. Like, how hard is it to set up and run a reaction character? Can you just like Like, let's say that I want to do this because I might actually was kind of looking into doing this, but is it like a huge pain in the ass to learn how to do reactions, or is it pretty much like read the guide, buy the stuff you're told, and there you go?
It's pretty much the latter. Reactions are really simplistic now. CCP's made it very easy, low barrier to entry, low capital requirement to entry. It basically is just a slot in a Citadel, or sorry, in a Tatara that you produce at. And you just buy the inputs either from Jeter or in 1DQ, and you just put the little BPO. And even better, you can repackage all these BPOs. So you're always kind of pulling off the pile. It makes it really, really easy to insert hundreds of jobs at once. You start with a couple injectors and 500 plex, and you can make 3 characters. Well, it's
You cut off. You said make 500 characters.
it's 500 plex for the account for 3 characters, and then
Right.
2 injectors per character. And then you've got 30 slots. And 30 slots, you can cram in over 100 billion instant reactions.
Jesus. What's the kind of startup capital that you'd want? Like if you're just getting into this, like how much ISK do you need to bring to the table for Baby Goons to get started?
They could start with acid. Jesus Christ, reducing sulfuric acid. I'm having to kill Jesus Market like repeatedly. You can start like low with like a couple billion, all the way up to hundreds of billions.
I recognize that it does kind of sound like we're having like a made-for-TV commercial, like an info commercial. Like, tell me, how could I get involved with using a slap chop to, make my kitchen better? But the
Yes,
reaction.
but tell me about recruiting my friends.
That's right, exactly. Tell me about how it's not a multi-level marketing scheme. But yeah, it does seem like market PvP is going nuts. But let's move on to talk about something else. Actually, before we wrap up, is there anything else that you guys who are not Aerith would like to chime in on here on the MER or the reaction war?
No, I just if you see the show notes, I just wrote let Aerith run his mouth because he knows more about this stuff than we do.
You should encourage your guests to really run their mouths on this, as Aerith is a hyper autist when it comes to market stuff.
Really, the rest of Eve should be embarrassed how badly they're doing right now.
Is it just snobbery? I mean, like ultimately, like from what my perspective is, it seems like people are just trying to act like this shit isn't resulting in spaceships, right? Like it's just mining and goons mine stuff and economic activity happens. I mean, if you look at particularly the import-export graph, like Delve has this massive import level, and nothing is getting exported. It is a black hole into which endless resources are getting sucked, and people don't seem to understand what happens. Like, what are people doing with it? I was at the Madison Monthly Eve Meet hanging out with the guys on Thursday, because we did it the second Thursday of this month because of the holidays, blah, blah, blah. And people were like, yeah, like, I got a couple Titans, but I'm kind of looking into this, blah, blah, blah. Like, I want to go gank people up north and do this and that. I've already got my Titans. I'm kind of getting bored of getting more Titans. It's sort of Goonswarm 2017. So it's just unusual, I guess, that people aren't.
I mean, one of the things you hear a lot from the rest of Eve is people talking about content, and especially talking about things like FCs as content creators. FCs don't create content. The content is the stuff in space that you get to shoot. So the content are the people who are mining, the people who are ratting, the people who are building structures, the people who are putting all of the stuff in space that you might want to go shoot. And the people enabling that, they're the content creators.
Yeah, I think that it's just going to be curious to see. Like, I'm cool with this. Like, if people want to just not mess with us for another couple of months and we'll just keep messing with everybody else, I'm pretty excited. We're going to do the Fireside after the meta show today, and we have a new program that we'll be announcing for Imperium people, but it's, I'm not going to drop it on the meta show. And we're massively going to be expanding reimbursement to every region. Spoiler alert, Shitstack reimbursement is actually going to be opened up to every region in the game. I don't know whether Atrium is going to add low-sec in there, but I think that our targets are in there too. And we're just going to go hog wild under this program that we're going to be announcing. So we're cool. Like, we'll just make all this money and then spend it on making people make less money and get blown up and make more Titans. I mean, fuck it. So screw them.
Well, we have the like Maginot line now. Like that's what people don't understand is they're like, well, it can't all be supers and titans, and it's not. It's trillions and structures too. I mean, we're dropping anywhere from like half a trillion to a trillion isk a month in structures. Like, come on, guys, like get on our level.
It does seem odd. I mean, people are dropping keep stars. Like Test is dropping a keep star today, or dropped one, and it should be coming online today. I lost track of how many keep stars we're at. I think it was
Right. Who knows what the last keep star we dropped actually is?
Yeah, we actually did sort of stop paying attention.
The
to that.
third Wii one.
That's right.
Because a corp has 3.
Well, yeah, we got to spam Tatars everywhere.
Yeah, so we are in fact. So tune into the Fireside if you're a member of the Imperium, and once we're done with the meta show, and you will be able to find out why we are expanding shitstack reimbursement, which is what we call peacetime reimbursement, to the entire galaxy, everywhere, for this initiative that we're going to be announcing. And we've already boosted hunting ships. Like there's like last couple weeks, we boosted the reimbursement we're giving out for both. I think we did interdictors, we did interceptors, interdictors, and bombers. So we're just gonna start making it rain. We're actually going to continue to making it rain. It's nuts. Like the investment. You seen any reports of like people putting down Tataras at the level that anywhere close to us? Like, are these moons that are all around Eve actually getting covered?
Yeah, not with Tatars. Like there's a lot. Like CCP's been releasing the stats or whatever, and it was like 4,400 Athenors, I think, and like 200 Tataras. So we know we're a very large percentage of the Tataras. But yeah, people are spamming. But there's probably a quarter of the moons covered right now that you would want covered.
I'm sort of curious how many of these new refineries are being placed on old school moon mining moons, the moon goo, versus ones that are just more traditional ores, and how much the rest of Eve is trying to put refineries up on those.
Yeah, I'm giving them credit for the best case scenario where every single one of them's on a good moon, and we probably know that's not true.
That doesn't make any sense at all. Like, I don't.
Well, they're kind of expensive. I mean, if you're doing this by the thousands, that adds up pretty quick.
Oh, I see what you mean. Gotcha.
So I think the majority of those thousands is probably private capital right now, or alliances who let their membership, tower the moon, if you will. Whereas ours are completely centralized. It's all alliance.
I'll take it. All right. So in addition to this, we're going to move on to yakking about the next topic, which is actually, I did do the top story with the graphic. That's right. We had that whole moment of like, is it going to work? I don't think I actually have I didn't install the nullsec power hour one because I actually don't like it as much as the other one. I need to look into that. But
About time to make a new one.
I suppose I could do that. The top story thing is really cool. I just like the other interstitials to match that. Okay, so Anime Shogun is cheering and cheering and cheering, and is spoiling Star Wars with a cheer, or maybe he is not spoiling. Who knows? We actually had an entire discussion about Star Wars spoilers because, like somebody was like, we should ban Star Wars spoilers and Goonstorm, and I'm like, the last Star Wars movie we had. Literally the front page of Something Awful, or the front page of the forums, was renamed to Han Dies. So it's going to be kind of hard for us to like keep people from avoiding spoilers or something or other if like our mother forum is spoiler central. But whatever.
There's an article that's saying that spoilers can actually ruin it. So I don't know.
Okay. So let's talk about the Garista Sotillo. So there is only 2 of them have been run. As you guys may or may not know, CCP introduced Garista Sotillos, same deal as like the Blood Raiders one, but with more ECM for fun times. Only 2 of them have been run so far, and we did see Slice run one of these in Declan. Initiative ran one, and it dropped no BPC, but did drop an Istanbul's Invuln. And then most recently, Slice did one in Declan, and it dropped the loot for a Komodo BPC, which is the Faction Titan. And then a guy from Initiative, getting sweet revenge, stole the fucking thing. Jay, can you tell a story? Do you know what happened with this?
Yeah, I can tell a story. So the initiative one was in the Great Wildlands, which is an NPC Angel region, which is kind of weird. A lot of people were confused about why they were spawning in the Angel region if it's a Garista Sodio, but CCP said in the Lifeblood patch they would spawn in Garista space and around it. It's not just linked to Garista space. There won't be an Angel Sodio, I think I read somewhere from CCP, but I don't really have a source on that. I think I just read it somewhere. The Slice one that was run, they used a interesting, questionable tactic to run
exploit.
it. What? I didn't hear that.
It's an exploit. There's no way that's not an exploit.
Yeah, they when you shoot one of these structures, it doesn't give you a weapons timer, and if you don't have a weapons timer, you can tether to a citadel. So you can send your fighters to it and warp to a citadel, and your fighters will continue to attack it while you sit tethered.
What?
So yeah, it's kind of broken. So you can run the Sodios completely safe, but you might have some trouble getting the loot if you're all sitting tethered on a citadel.
No, that's just a smart use of game mechanics. That's not an exploit at all.
Just like our Death Clone is a smart use of game mechanics, or it was when PL did it, but when we did it, it had to be changed, of course.
Now that Slice has made that tactic aware to us, we'll continue to use it. The Slice one also, as you said, dropped the Komodo. So that means we are the only alliance in the game, or in coalition in the game, to have all three of the faction titans.
Yeah, people are trolling me for is it Komodo, Komodo, something or other.
I thought it was Komodo, like the dragon.
Komodo dragon, yeah. That's one of those words that I've only ever really learned from books, I guess. So Komodo dragon. All right, so that's pretty cool. I mean, Slice. So was Slice using this exploit, which is totally just a smart use of game mechanics, and then they still got their shit stolen?
Yes.
That's beautiful. So
well, that actually probably explains why they got their shit stolen, because it is really hard to steal the loot from those. I mean, you need like a deep space transport, or can a blockade runner do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the dude warped in a DST and scooped it and then warped
out.
Like,
so basically they were sitting on the Citadel so far off that they couldn't do anything.
Oh, they weren't there. Like, yeah,
right.
So they were, yeah, because I mean that's the thing. Like, you would have to warp something, warp a DST into the middle of a hostile fleet, and then pick up the thing and warp out. And DSTs aren't exactly agile. So they got this thing stolen because they were exploiting like shitlers.
That might be a fun exploit to just not fix.
That seems amusing. Like, then they could just farm the stuff for us, and then we can take things from them again and again.
Well, sure, shit, they're gonna fix it if we can use it on ours.
Now we know that they're gonna do it that way. We can just park our DST ults in the area and just scoop in at the last minute.
That seems reasonable.
One goon did die. Shout out to Diogenes, who did die in the process of trying to loot it as well. I think there's Killmal in chat.
Man down. Let's check this out. Poor Diogenes' Mastodon. Wow.
I think he decloaked first, so they all went for him and the other guy.
And then the initiative guy got it. That's amazing. Sorry, I'm not sure whether something abruptly got fucked up with my system here. Okay. This is why we need boat.
Oh, I think we killed that topic.
Okay.
Much more to say. So.
Yeah, let's talk about the CCP Blaze thing. Innominate, we haven't heard. Do you want to introduce what happened with the Blaze skins?
Yeah, well, one of the CCP developers, Blaze, passed away recently, and he was young, had a family, and so they are creating these skins as I believe the income for it is going to the family.
Yeah, it's going to the widow and his newborn, I guess. They just got engaged. He was going to celebrate his engagement. I mean, come on.
It's such a sad story. It's like you could just add he was 1 week away from retirement almost.
No, then it'd be old and it'd be fine.
Well,
and he would have had a young bride, and then it'd have been creepy. It'd have been pedophilia-like. Yeah, that would have been weird. But young. Oh.
Like, what happened? Like, do we know what happened? Was it an accident, or was it just a
heart, something with the heart, like heart disease or heart attack or something like that? Something heart.
God, that is shit. Where just suddenly somebody falls over like that. Well, the upshot is that. Hang on a second.
The skins are absolutely gorgeous.
They really are.
They really are. Like, I've been pinging it, every couple days, just like, hey, this is not only a good kind of tribute thing and a help the widow and the baby, but that's cool to speculate on too. Like, if you just want to make a bunch of money, you buy some and sit on it for a year.
Yeah, there's 6 skins available. One of them comes on its own, which is the Armageddon, which was his favorite ship apparently, and the other 5 are available in a pack of 5. Which is Barghest, Cerberus, Hurricane, Ishtar, and the Oracle.
I know that our guys are buying them en masse. Like, I know that Reavers, which is a squad that doesn't exist, is pushing for basically everybody to get these things because they are only available for a short period of time, and it's definitely for a good cause. So we want to incentivize people and just get this out there that. It was just really weird. I remember I'm Facebook buddies with a decent number of people who are currently or were with CCP, and when it happened, suddenly, like, all of my CCP friends are like talking about, holy shit, rest in peace, what the fuck. It's just not. It wasn't expected. It wasn't something that it's like it just didn't. It wasn't fair. So anyway. Get the skins. They look awesome. It's a shitty thing that happened, and let's see what we can do to make things a little bit better.
And hopefully we can convince CCP to tell us, like, how much did we raise?
Yeah, I do hope that they'll let us know that.
They do go off sale on Monday, so if you're thinking of buying them, you should sort of hurry up about it. Although Tuesday, sorry.
Yeah, it's only 1 week they're available.
Gotcha. Well, let's talk about something a little bit more lighthearted. Which is this, there's triumvirate drama, apparently, which Captain Patrick Archer apparently is, I'm not sure whether he took us from the Qualm wallets and he scraped everything and he stole from the Corp to leave to go join to Northern Coalition. Like, we've had Captain Patrick Archer as a guest on the Meta Show repeatedly, so this is some potentially curious drama. Jay, can you tell us what the hell happened?
As far as I know, I sort of just woke up and read about it on the Reddit, and I saw the threads and talking to people. But he wasn't happy with how he was being treated within the Corp. The CEO apparently was AFK and ignoring him. I don't know if he took money or he was trolling about taking money, but he apparently has some money that the Corp has, and he's not going to. He wants to give it to the members that deserve it, is what he said.
So he's going to use it.
Yeah. It's he also had the option to transfer the Triumvirate Keepstar as well, I think. But he didn't do that because he didn't want to be like the judge, apparently. Which is, if you're going to, fuck over some people, you might as well do it properly.
Yeah, that is sort of an unusual thing. Like, if you're going to basically go fuck goons, if you're gonna like loot the wallet and do whatever, you might as well go all the way. But people outside of the Imperium are sort of weird about the rules of Ibushido, as it were.
They have honor.
It's hard to keep track of the honor, and all that bullshit as to.
I don't know how you can. I don't know how you can say it's okay to rob your corp on the way out. But, well, I'm only going to half-ass it, so it's okay.
Absolute Zero is saying here that in talking in stations, he said that he took the corp money and he considered it his anyway. I mean, this is sort of the attitude of entitlement that you often find with thieves. It was be like, oh, I'm not stealing it. This is just what I deserve. It's actually mine.
Aren't Try and NC Dot kind of blue troll to each other?
That is a little...
They're actually blue.
They're actually explicitly blue.
Yeah. Oh, according to Eve Skunk.
That makes sense. I mean, it is odd as to Did he say why? Like what he was pissed about? Like was he mad at somebody in Triumvirate over it, or do you think this is related to the way that the wars have been going?
The Qualm CEO, he says, he was mad at a guy called Miketh, I think. I don't know. I didn't really read the post too much. So he went away. He said he was going to quit the game, and the CEO removed his roles because he said he was going to quit. And then he obviously decided he wasn't going to quit and asked for his roles back. But the CEO ignored him.
It sounds like a whole lot of bullshit between people that we don't like. I mean, I like Captain Patrick Archer as a guest. Like, he's a great meta show guest and is usually very articulate about everything, which is fantastic. But in terms of what's happening between Triumvirate versus NC, fuck them, from our perspective. A couple other things are going on. The big news, I'm not sure if this counts as big news or what, but Brave has always been such a magnet for drama. So allegedly, Brave Collective's military director has been stripped of his roles. Do we know the name of the Brave Collective military director? Like who this person is?
It's Kinnera.
Okay, so apparently they are having a State of the Alliance tonight. And when I say tonight, is that going to be like U.S. time zone, or is it like Euro Prime and it's like already happening or something? Or I don't really know, because despite what everybody is, back in the day, Brave was obsessed with the idea that Goonswarm had infiltrated the Brave Council and was doing all the stuff to Brave, but we never really gave a fuck. We would like try to help them out, and they would claim that we were spying on them, and like every third person there is actually, no less than 12 Goon spies, kind of thing.
PL.
Exactly. So I have no idea, but they're having a soda tonight, and there's like drama in Brave, which I guess means that it's a day that ends in Y. I have no idea. Lumpy Mayo says, "Lol, no, we were not obsessed." Well, that's actually bullshit, because I had to deal with repeated administrations of Brave with Licton, and a lot of former Brave council members are now at high ranks in Goonswarm because there was so much talent that was driven out of the organization by paranoia and councils, because councils are bullshit, just like democracy. Does Brave still have a council?
Well,
I have no idea. I think it's just one dude running the show now, which is probably for the best.
Well, we do owe Brave for Karma Fleet, so some good did come out of them.
We got a lot of good out of Brave. It's just that it was supposed to have been Brave's good for Brave, but hey,
But listen to this. So you got like 4 senior leaders of goons here, and none of us really know shit about Brave because we don't give a fuck.
Yeah, that's true. Like it was never oh wow, Brave is like. I mean, we offered them Delve. That's actually really funny. Like at one point when we were still in the Northwest, Delve came up for grabs again, and we were like, "Hey guys, why don't you like Hero Coalition? Why don't you take Delve?" And they're like, "Ooh, this is a goon conspiracy, and we shouldn't accept that offer," and blah 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 blah. Which is really fucking funny, considering that Delve is the richest region in the game now, and they could have been shitting out Titans and Keepstars and shit hand over fist, but welp. So we'll find out what that is. I hope it's mildly amusing. Jay had actually written here in our show notes that this isn't even worth covering, but like the weird internal dramas in Brave, it's weird when you see an alliance, I guess, that is just constantly racked with the same kind of issues over and over again.
Happens so much, you don't really know if it's real or not.
We lost 200 billion in Rorquals.
Yeah, because we did a strat up, and one Russian dude was like, I don't need to do that. I'm just gonna go mine because that's what I do.
It's like literally just one guy, right? And
yeah,
he had like
one dude.
How many Rorquals was it? I haven't even seen the the lost mails. I was out and about at the time. It was like
let me count.
Let's see if we can dig this up, because.
Oh yeah, this is the shoot blues guy. I forgot.
Yeah, and then he shot blues in the process, so he's like getting kicked out. He was apparently like he shot blues in order to try to like preserve the loot from his destroyed Rorquals or something or other.
16 Rorquals.
Wait, he tried to shoot the blues that were looting his wrecks?
Yeah, some lawn dude, like some lawn newbie walked in with like a Noctis and was salvaging, and he walked back in a super and killed him.
Yeah, shoot an adorable newbie, looting your 200 billion field. That was that newbie's fucking Eve life right there. That newbie was going to be the happiest guy ever.
Well, he got. I think he's been. All the parties who were injured from this has been reimbursed, and that guy has been purged. But Gobbin said massive ping span, and Goonies lost 200 billion. Well, it sounds like one person did in fact lose 200 billion ISK. 16 Rorquals, looted the Rex, and one of his lost mails was then 23 billion ISK. So it's like recursive loss. But as Robin Hood is pointing out here, this is the second time that this guy has lost his Rorquals. So some people you just can't reach. No matter what you do, you can say like, so we're gonna have, like I said earlier, guys, we're gonna have the Fireside Chat after the meta show. So in like 5 minutes when we ring off here, we're gonna go over there and announce the crazy ass program with the massive shit stack reimbursement for the entire galaxy. But before like we plan what we're gonna say at the Firesides during the Lou meetings, and during a Kremlin meeting today, somebody was like, hey, like maybe we should tell people to fit their Rorquals the right way, and it's kind of like, well. Yes, but the sort of person who's going to like listen to a Fireside and talk to people and be plugged in, those are the people, they're going to fit their Rorquals the right way anyway, right? Like the dude who's in an off time zone mining during a strat op, which isn't illegal or anything. We don't have a like, oh, everybody has to dock up, we've got a strat op kind of thing going on. But the kind of guy who's just totally disconnected from everybody, has a bad fit, isn't going to find out from a Fireside Chat saying, hey guys, make sure that you're smart about your Rorqual fits. So what can you do? Sally Solomon for 12 months. Fuck yeah.
You know what you can do? You can sit back and you can laugh at the kill mails.
Exactly. We can basically, we can point at these guys and laugh and say, hey, this is an object lesson to everybody else who's pointing and laughing of this is how you don't fit your Rorquals, and please learn from the mistakes of these idiots. So that should be fun.
We need a Gara every
for 20. Yeah, it is a Gara. Every 6 months or so, somebody like gets their shit knocked in thereabouts. But yeah, it's interesting. I'm kind of curious as an experiment. Atrium was trolling me about this earlier, and he's totally right. I'm notorious for not playing Eve, and it's kind of hard to be motivated to do PvE because I technically have access, not technically, I explicitly have access to all of the wealth of Goonswarm Federation. So it's not really like, man, I need to log into Eve so I can buy a whatever. Because I could just buy whatever whenever I feel like it. But I was kind of thinking about from a experiment to like try to set aside like a slush fund of only things that I earn in the game, and see what it's like for a line member to come in and like how fast can you build up a fortune if you listen to Aerith and the rest of GS ISK. Like if I come in and I have a budget of like 5 billion ISK, how rapidly can I turn that into a Rorqual? How rapidly can I turn that into a reaction farm? And just see what it's actually like to start from not nothing, but how long does it take to build a fortune up?
Nice segue to that is an article that just went up on INN, which is dude in Amok.dot how Web built a super carrier in 2 months using alpha clone skills.
Yes. Can you link that? Because that's a good one.
It's linked in chat.
Yeah,
just went up.
So I'll have to check that out because Secret Millionaire. Yeah, I don't really know, but the holidays are coming up, and I just finished moving house, and we had our housewarming party last night, which was pretty cool. And then now it's like, wow, there's just going to be snow and an opportunity to relax and maybe play a little EVE Online as a hidden person. Somebody was up 100 billion ISK 3 or 4 months into starting EVE thanks to scamming Astronautistic. That is absolutely the classic way to go. I sold a fair number of Ghost Supers back in the day. Unfortunately, can't do that anymore. But all right, what else? Let's see if there's anything in particular. We've only got a couple more minutes here. We started about 5 minutes late, so we can
do have a giveaway. Someone has offered to give away a set of the Blaze skins. I don't know how to do a giveaway, so it says you could do a Chrome add-on.
I don't have the equipment to do that. We can do that for next week if we've planned it. But we also need to make sure that there is a regulation when it comes to giveaways on streams, is that they can't be limited to subscribers. It's got to be just anyone. You can ask somebody to follow before you do a giveaway, because then it's like it doesn't cost anybody to follow the channel. For physical goods, you can do them subscriber only. We haven't done that in a while, though, so whatever. Worst show ever, no free things. Somebody's popping up in here and says, Boat, have you realized that you hate spiders? Boat is unfortunately not with us because he is in Australia, because he did travel to the scary spider place. And hopefully we're going to do all right. We're going to be doing this for 6 weeks with me hosting the Meta Show by my lonesome with the help of an army of friends, because I can't be relied upon to pull this thing off without lots of help. So thank you guys for coming. Jay, do you have, what do you guys want to talk about next week? Like, do you guys have any ideas as to what we should hit? Because I think we've kind of done the economy thing to death.
I'm not too sure at the minute. We'll see what develops over the week, and I'll come up with something. Is there anything the viewers would like to see?
We do have the holidays coming up, so with all those people with lots of spare time,
I do expect a fair amount of drama to happen, because since it is the holidays, people will come in, they'll play lots of Eve, you'll see a lot more idiots out in belts doing things. Hopefully, the campaign that the Imperium is about to launch on will be a topic of news, but you guys don't get to hear about it here. We need to hear about it on the Fireside, which will be up next. So if you're a member of the Imperium, you can go ahead and start piling into the Fireside Chat channel now, and I will join you there in about 2 minutes, because we're going to talk about why we're giving shitstack reimbursement for the entire fucking galaxy, and it's something that I think is going to make a lot of pubbies extremely angry if we do our homework, right? Like, it's going to require effort from the entirety of the coalition at a much more individual level. I'm pretty excited about it, but there's a competition. I love competitions. I love leaderboards. Very excited. All right, boys and girls, let's fuck off. We'll be back next week for more of the Meta Show, and I think Boat usually just plays the intro again as an outro. Is that what I'm supposed to do? Somebody hold my hand.
Screw it. We just say fuck all y'all.
We could just do that, but all right. Thanks a lot, guys. I'm going to play the intro again, and then we'll be done, I guess. And we'll catch you next week and see you in the Fireside Chat next.
Fuck all y'all.
You are about to receive messages that may be harmful to your mental state. Your sense of reality will be questioned. Your view on things will be altered. You are now part of the Meta. The Meta controls everything. The Meta determines what will and will not happen. You are watching the Meta Show.